we are, so we can have some stuff addressed to us that just was. I think one of the things that probably we didn't communicate real good on, we talked about body rules for next year. What we're talking is, unless you have, in the modified, unless you have a IMCA sealed 604 crate, you can't have a spoiler, and you got to have that back panel on. That's all we're going to worry about. We're not going to take a tape to your doors or fins on your nose or anything like that. Those are the two issues when we talk body that we're talking about. Spoiler, back panel.
Yeah, you don't have to rebody your car. You're going to race what you're racing. But the back panel is an identity thing for us. You know, you can pick out an IMCA modified pretty easy in a picture. It's got the back panel on it and it doesn't have the spoiler on it. So that's what we're talking about when we say IMCA body rules. So
Same with the sport
Same
mods.
thing with the sport mods.
Yep.
So we're not talking about cutting up your car to pieces or anything like that. It'll happen over time. You'll knock the doors and all that off that, and I recommend that you build it back to the IMCA spec as you go. If you were going to build something anyway, so you got to fix your whole side of your car off. So little at a time, but yeah, whatever you were racing last year, if it was legal last year, you'll stick at the racing. Plus the back panel, minus the spoiler on the mod, back panel on the sport mod, and up to 5-inch wheel.
I hope that clears up any you know, we probably didn't do a good job communicating that, so thank you for bringing it to us.
Any other questions regarding the transition stuff? We're going to go back at the very end. We're going to go back to like actual full IMCA legal, or parking forming, whatever setups. If you want to talk about date and stuff like that at the end. Right now, that was just kind of the transition questions to begin. Any others? Go ahead.
Now, you were talking about claim, but an exchange is still a claim. So in the A-mods, there's no exchange, no claim. Run what you run.
With the rules, with the chips and
Right. So the same thing in the A-mod.
That's correct.
So there's no
Not claiming or claim exchanging or anything like that. We really don't have a lot of claims. We've really worked on our engine rules, our engine package over time. You know, we did a lot of testing and crates and claims and on the dyno and on the track and all that to come up with what we got. We have a lot of engine rules, it seems like at times, but it's really worked out. And because of the parity, we just don't have a lot of claims.
Are we going to have a whistler or grader? Are we even need one this year or what?
Yeah. Yeah, you still had a compression rule in the soda car, right? Yeah, but no, it'd be 9.5. You can still run the 9.5 motor. Just the tires and the body and the RPM limit, if there is one. You run a 602 crate, 6200, 604 crate, 6400. Plain engine and then modified is 7800. But other than that, you're still running those rules. You still have to be legal. You're running a soda car with the exception. Still 9.5 on the B mods, 4 mod.
Now, how are they going to check this out for a 9.557 rod motor compared to a 9.16-inch rod motor? Are we going to do this every night, 1 through 5, or are we just doing it?
When I did check, and all the years I worked at the weekly racetrack or whatever, I mean, I rotate when I'm looking at it. If you're going to try to pump and whistle and scope and everything, top 5 motors every night, you can be there a long time. I rotate. If I get a chance to watch a race, a lot of times that decides what I'm going to be looking at. So I can see how dominant the guy was versus, how close the race was, etc. That's how I decide. But I highly recommend, when I work with a tech guy, we tech heats. I don't know if your racetrack techs heats, but if I work with somebody, I highly recommend teching the heat. A DQ and a heat means starting to last in the feature or in the B main, at least you're still racing. Wait until the bitter end to throw you out and go on with nothing. It's kind of a bad deal. So our job really is to help you stay legal. And so heat races, I recommend that. At the end of the night, we usually do the top 4, we tech, top 4, which your racetrack can tech as many as they wanted. Or as few as they wanted, etc. So if you've been doing 5, maybe that guy's going to go with 5, you can do 5. But we rotate it around. There's lots of ways, to get on the wrong side of the rules, and so we try to do it around. Anybody? We're going to try to move on, I think, early. Make some progress besides.
That is the guys that are running the show.
besides that guy?
I just wanted to, again, reintroduce the order that will be at Liston. If you have any questions or, let's say, sponsorship or want to talk to that person, that would be very good, right? It's very good. Any complaints, come and see me right away. Yeah. You guys are familiar with IMCA a little bit, so just that works very easy.
I appreciate you guys being late. I know you're going to run Princeton, and I appreciate that. My name is Mary Beth Wright. My husband Buzz raced out there for years. You might know that last way. He's got the championships out there. I had a son that races sprint cars in IMCA clubs, and we're big IMCA supporters here. I managed a couple of speedways for several years. I am board stock and Bergen. I flag with my husband, so we're not coming into it blind. Right? Got a little bit of experience, but hopefully we can put it to big use.
Anybody else while Jim's wandering around? I'd like to reiterate one more time. You can call me anytime. You're standing in your shop on a Sunday afternoon, torching me, and think about cutting somebody off your car and debating whether you should or shouldn't. You call me and I'll tell you. I'll help you. Tom will help you too. You can't get me to get Tom, vice versa. Usually I handle a lot of the transition racetracks, so I recommend calling me first. If you call Tom, make sure to identify yourself. I'm racing here, we're in the transition phase. These transition rules will get posted up on our drive, our storage drive that we all share and get access remotely, so it'll be able to do what the rules are. And so, yeah, and I'm sure it'll end up on your track's website.
Along with their phone numbers.
That's right.
So,
We encourage
don't
that.
be afraid to call. That's just the privilege of membership, you know. And we take feedback. Preferably, it's not all prefaced with a bunch of F-bombs and everything else, but I realize everybody's not going to be happy at the end of the day. So, but if you need some help or you got an opinion or something else, you know, we take that too.
The one thing that I wanted to mention about the transition rules also is you guys can't go and pick what you like about Wissota and what you like about IMCA and say, here we are, we're in transition, I get the best of both. You gotta be, you can't have in the sport mod, you can't have the aluminum intake with the J-bar, for example. You can't intermix them.
That stuff will come up in the next transition year, the next year, what we're going to change then. So some of the racetracks may not be exactly the same transition rules based on what they have for cars and what they see and how they trim. So if at Buffalo River, you know, everybody's on all four tires on their sport mod before we even get to half season, you might look at that and say, you know what, let's just go ahead and go with all four. If that's the case, you realize guys are buying used Wissota tires and put on just trying to make it to the end of the year so they can go back and race. And you can see that, and take out and see that. And we'll get that information as well as the time for that. In a big hurry, but again, putting a 9.5 motor with a aluminum intake, etc. in your northern sport model, you're wrong because obviously 9.5 is too much.
I got a question on what you just said though. So, if you run a crate motor in the B-mods, now you can't run coil eliminator.
Which, the Wissota grade?
You just said that you can't run J-bar with the aluminum intake in the sport line. So you're saying you can't run a crate motor and coil eliminator, so you switch that over to IMC for suspension setup?
Can you do that with soda? Run the
Brake motor?
Yeah.
the elimination with the brake motor with soda? Then you can do that.
No, they don't have it.
They don't have brake motor?
We can't run the crate.
We can't run, because that's 2015.
14.
No grade.
Gotcha.
You can't run the Wissota concept water?
Testing.
I don't know why you could run a crate. We'll put that in there. You can run the crate with a soda car, you know, during the transition year, but not the contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is that if you have a question about IMCA or how it's being run, don't ask another driver.
Come to us, please. Thank you. That's probably the best advice, and thank you for bringing that up. Come straight to the, Jackass's mouth or whatever, that's us, so.
That's him.
And as far as bigger races, guys, you know, like someone asked me, you can't go to a bigger race. We're going to put on a series, and it's going to come to Brainerd. It'll be a four-night series, and it'll be for transition rules. So it'll be a modified tour. We're looking at a really good points fund right now. It should be really good. So it'll be 4 nights, a couple nights up in our area, and then we're going to come to Brainerd one night too. So there will be a tour for the transition cars too.
That's already about it.
I know I had that.
Okay, well, good. Nice. So now we're going to go into point structure, procedures, lineups, that kind of thing.
Anything else on the rules before we move on? And if you think about it after, like I said, that's what we're here for.
Want to get that license?
I got it right here.
That's good for
Thanks. And then what we're going to go over now, guys, is once again to keep things standardized across the country. We have lineup procedures, and the handouts I gave you goes over our lineup procedure, how we set our heats, how we set our features. It's really simple. It's all based on track point average. So your track point average will dictate where you start the heat and where you start the feature. In a nutshell, if we run 3 heats, the top 4 from each heat will make the invert. Once inside the invert, which is 12 cars, you'll be lined up low point average to high point average.
No heat points.
No heat points. That's something a little bit different. No heat points. So really, your point leaders are going to start probably 6th row outside and on forward, providing you make the invert. And it's based on your season point average. If you miss 2 weeks, you go back to a 0 point average. And we do that so we don't have guys kind of a little bit of sandbagging. So it really breaks it down on that sheet I gave you. It's on our website. I'm just trying to read and make sure that I didn't miss anything on that. Once again, first night's draw, redraw. From then on, it goes off point average. We allow the tracks to run some special races during the year, which can be done under a draw, redraw type format. But for the weekly races, it's all done on a point average. The heat features lined up by point average. And once again, that's to kind of keep you consistent throughout all 27 states, 165 tracks. Questions? Yeah.
How do you line up if you go to a track and you don't have no point average?
The best you'll start, providing they're using, it's a weekly show, not a special. The best you can start is 13th out of the invert. You'll be the first car outside the invert.
Now, if you qualify for the invert, you'll line up behind the cars in the invert that have
Yeah.
12. So the worst you can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where you're going to start 12 then?
Yeah, in the future.
So you start 12, so what's the incentive for us to go to another track knowing we're going to start 12?
Well, once again, and I think more importantly, what we try to do with this is reward drivers that are loyal to a particular track. It is the key thing with this system. To be consistent and to reward the guys that are racing week in, week out at a track. Once again, most of the times during specials, all the specials are draw, redraw type races.
And invert's the same as Wasona does. It's best you can start as 9th or whatever, it's the first night there.
Yeah, and I believe that the same goes. So there's 9 invert.
Well, whatever, it depends on how many heats you have. So
Yeah.
whatever.
So it's really the same format. Any other questions on our lineup? Now we'll kind of break down our state, regional, national points. And they all go off your weekly track points. That is all our points base off your weekly races. What we do in the modified and sport mod bowl, we take your best 30 finishes out of your first 55 starts. And once again, the reason we do that is to make sure that one region might not have an advantage over another region. So a guy can't decide to start the year. Our first point race of the year is January 1st in Antioch, California. So we don't expect people running for our national championship to run out to California and then spend a month in Arizona. So you get your best 30 finishes out of your first 55 starts inside your region. This year, for example, our modified national champ was out of New Mexico. We have 2 tracks in New Mexico. Last year, our modified national champ came out of Oklahoma, and he mostly ran down in Texas. Our last 2 sport mod national champs, he's won it back-to-back, is Minnesota. Well,
he races in Minnesota.
Yeah, he only races up at Arlington and Fairmont, Redwood are the only tracks that he runs. And he's won back-to-back sport mod national championships. So we really believe with this point structure, everybody's on the same page. Once again, I think if you look at our modified top 5, it was New Mexico, Oklahoma, New York, Iowa, Nevada, I believe. So I think we've got a pretty good point system there that kind of equalizes it for everybody across the country.
I just wanted to add, you can, if you're really ambitious, you can race in multiple regions and just take your best finish. So like say you have the winter off and you want to go race in a different, right?
Yeah.
You could go race for completely in a full-time in another region and then full-time here in the summer and take whichever one finish you have best. And
Somebody's saying 30 out of 55. What happens after you hit 55?
We don't count any more races. Obviously, you can still race. What happened a couple years ago, our guy from Oklahoma was actually in a points battle with a guy named Jesse Sabin out of Iowa. And he had basically run out of starts down in Texas. So he drove up to Iowa to chase Jesse around to try to take wins from him. And it was interesting. It was a game. Jesse would park a dummy hauler with a backup car. He'd send it one way, hoping that William Gould would follow that. Gould would call the racetrack saying he was with a racing radio show and heard that Jesse Sabin was in his pits and wanted to know if he could interview him, just to see if Jesse was there. Gould rented a car for one of his crewmen, had him parked outside Jesse's shop, and he sat in the interstate up at an interchange waiting to find out which way to go. So it can be creative. But, and if you go race, like let's say down in Arizona and what have you, those aren't going to, outside your region, will not count against you in starts. So it's not like you're going to burn up a bunch of starts by going down, because we have races starting the second week in January, already through the end of February down in Arizona, whether it be Canyon, Casa Grande, ET, and Yuma, all race throughout the month of January and February. Then it goes into tiebreakers and what have you. The IMCA license, the modified license for a driver is $115. That comes with $50,000 worth of secondary excess medical participant accident, am I correct terms? Insurance. And it explain, and Bob actually works for JB.
Right, yeah.
And they carry the coverage on our licensed members. And Bob, if you could just take maybe a second and
It's basically the last year's plan, and we're still talking about next year, but last year's plan was a $50,000 excess program over and above your track policy. And we do want to stress to everybody that we're not trying to make you feel that you should not have personal health insurance. You really should make sure that you've got your own primary personal health insurance, because you are responsible for your bills no matter where you go. But what we're trying to do with the track policies and the IMCA policy is have a little buffer zone in case there's some deductibles and some other things that come into play that you need some help with. Also, yes, to and from the track for the drivers. Yeah. To a IMCA sanctioned event. Now, we have had situations in the past where people have went to, they're an IMCA member, but they went to a non-sanctioned race and raced and had some situations. But being that it's not an IMCA sanctioned race, then the coverage is not there. So it is an IMCA sanctioned race for the members. But if you've got any other questions on it, you can get all of me through IMCA and answers.
And also with your membership, it will get you your subscription of Inside IMCA, which is our monthly newspaper that we put out of our home office in Benton, Iowa, which once again covers the whole country, results, pictures. We'll run every story we can get our hands on. We'll put every picture in there we can get our hands on. We want to showcase and spotlight you guys. That's what that newspaper is for. So,
Also in the newspaper, Tom Gutowski, our competition director, Brett Ruder, our VP of operations, and Jim, and our region directors all have columns in there that will have information that will be important to you.
mine's not important, but Tom's is.
Jim's is entertaining though.
Mine might be entertaining, but
So
not
it'll be
really.
important because if something crops up that just nobody could have ever imagined or ever seen before, and before it starts to end up going into competition without being approved, or it's just outside the rules, or some guy's trying to really work the gray area or whatever, we address those things in Tom's column. And we have Kirk Niehaus as our hobby stock director, and he has a column also, and I have avoided the column all this time and still do. So, but that information will be important to you before you spend your money or buy something and find out that hey, you can't run that. So pay attention if you get it. I encourage you to read it. You can read it online also if you're a little bit techy, and you can read it online also. I read mine online before it ever shows up in the mail.
Once again, getting back to our points. 40 points for a future win, and it drops 1 point after that for every position. So 40 for the future, then we'll go all the way down. Once again, then we get into B feature and show up points, more or less, lack of a better term, show up points. So that's how we.
Wait, real quick, the show points though is only if it's less than, I mean, it's not like they don't have a break, you have to have 16 if you only have 10, right?
Yeah, well, you'll get full points at 10 cars. If there's 9, we start the win at 39 and work our way down. To get any points, you have to attempt to qualify for the feature through a heat. You have to do that to get any points. We had guys, like I said, we've been doing this a while. I think we've seen about every scenario. We had guys pull into tracks without an engine in a car. You know, here I am to race. Oops, I knew I forgot something. No, you got to attempt to qualify. Any questions on points? Once again, getting back to the license, modifieds, 115. Sport mod is 90. Once again, the same insurance with the modified and sport mod. They're both under the same policy. All of our divisions race with the same insurance, and even, what is it, $60, you can get a associate or crew license that will come with the insurance also. Correct.
So if you only have to race 4 IMCA events, correct, to be considered part of the point championship or something, right?
The track has to have 4 races for us to recognize a track champion with a jacket and a flag.
Okay.
4 races.
But the state level points, you guys have regional, state, and then
National.
state points are the cumulative of the 55 shows, right? Not just
Yep. Their state points are all the shows you start in your state will qualify you for state points. Yep. Once again, with the license, this is one thing, guys, we're going to bring up. One thing we do not allow, you cannot hold a modified license and race a sport mod. That's something we've always done. You know, we feel strongly about it. We want to try to create as many winners as possible, is our goal. So you cannot hold a modified and a sport mod license in the same year. Questions?
Can they race mod one year and next year just as
Oh, absolutely. And even, you know, we've had guys that get into a modified, race it, and say, hey, listen, this modified isn't for me. We can convert that into a sport mod license. You will lose all your modified points for the year and pick up sport mod where you start. So yeah, we don't say you're locked into that, but you can't run both at the same time. One thing that I put in there, and I got to apologize, it didn't translate real good in a black and white, are our regions. The region that you will be competing in is the North Central region. North Central region, and that is basically going to consist of Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North and South Dakota. That will be your region, the North Central region. That's for the modifieds. Sport mods, as of this time, all we have is northern and southern sport mods. You guys will be northern sport mods, and we don't have that broken up into regions. I will admit right now, currently, we're looking at, as our numbers continue to grow in the sport mods, doing something to break it up, and that's something we would announce around the first of the year if we can come up with a good way to do that. I guess let's go into any questions before I go to something else.
One more thing, track champions receive.
Yeah, I'm going to start probably with our...
No, the bonus points are.
Oh, excuse me, the bonus points. Okay, yeah, with our track championship, you receive bonus points. And that is based on the average car count for your track, with 20 being the maximum. So let's say Princeton averages 20 mods next year. The track champion will be awarded 20 bonus points. And you can use 2 sets of bonus points from a track or series championship. So once again, what we're trying to do is give you guys the incentive to race for a track championship, weekly racing, and do it, you know, as many tracks as you can. So there are bonuses for track championships. It's based on the average car count. It's a point per average car count. And you can use 2 tracks, a track, a series, what have you. It is how we do that. Yeah, towards the national regional points.
And everybody will be considered a rookie if they're this year.
4 races. If you haven't run 4 IMCA races anywhere in modern history, you will be considered a rookie. What's so important about that is we have a program set up with Speedway Motors. Your first feature win as a rookie, you will receive a $100 gift card, a t-shirt, and a certificate from Speedway Motors. But you have to be signed up, guys. We don't know until we get on your license there's a box to mark rookie. I would suggest everybody mark that. Let us find out if you've raced 4 races. So when you send your license in, please make sure you check that you are a rookie, and that way we will get you eligible to receive that $100 gift certificate from Speedway Motors on your first feature win. Yeah.
Do you have rookie bonuses for region, states?
What I'll do is I'll get into in that sheet I handed you. Let's start with the modifieds. We'll start with our National Point Fund. Our National Point Fund to win our modified national championship is $10,000, 5, 3,500, 2,500, 15, 1,000, 5 on that. That's cash. That's not contingencies. For me to that's why I just printed them out. The last 5 or 6 pages of the packet I handed out go over contingency awards for track champions, for national champions, regional champions. We'd be here all night if I tried to hand them out. I think, what'd you get when you won the sprint car?
Cylinder heads, fire suit,
Well, we totaled this up.
coupons for, I think, just about every manufacturer under the sun. Either coupons or gift cards. I mean, you know, the cylinder heads are nice and they look all their other heads.
Yeah.
You got a jacket, a trophy, a cylinder heads. Now, we added up all of the, like what Joy gives them a racing seat, and they go right down the line. I think for rookie of the year, just about $12,000 worth of cash contingency.
And
that was for a rookie of the year express.
We break all that down in those sheets I gave you. Like I said, I don't know if there's any way I can sit here and go through it piece by piece. Kevin Yoder, who's our director of marketing, does a fantastic job. We have partnerships with, I want to say, right around 60-ish sponsors. So that's, getting back to the National Point Fund, starts at 10 grand to win, goes to 500 for the top 10 in national modified points. Each region, our region champ gets 2,500, and then we go to 1,250, then 625, 325, and 300. That's for the region. So in cash alone, just for a national champion, we're at 12.5. The 10 plus you'll win a region. And then once again, to try to add up the contingencies on that would be a while. Did I? I forgot something.
Okay, and then on that note, for the payouts for weekly and for modifieds, like at North Central will stay virtually the same. I know, for instance, we haven't looked at that yet. We're going to look at see what we can do with that. Maybe modify some. So our payout's not going to drop. It's going to virtually stay the same. We might take a little bit off the top and put it more down towards the bottom, but it wouldn't be. It's not going to be less than 500 and 100 to start, something like that. But we might not even change it at all. And then for a track champion, let me just try to simplify your incredibly difficult percentage process. Basically, we pay a sanctioning fee weekly of $75
Plus 5%.
plus 5% of whatever that total night's payout is for that
For the modifieds.
for that class. IMCA keeps 25 of it, so 50 of it is always going to be based, and 5% of that total, the work hours is what we're going to pay in. And then that is then added to what is going to get paid back to the track champion at the end of the year. So
I pulled up, I tried to pick a track.
it's not definite is what we're saying. It's
It varies from track to track. I pulled up Britt, Iowa. I thought there might be a kind of a comparison there with Britt and what we got up here. I think they probably, I know, they pay better up here, so that's going to affect it too. But for example, Tim Ward won the track championship at the Hancock County Speedway, Britt, Iowa. His cut of that was $622.59. We paid in the modifieds, we paid down to 15 spots with last place or 15th place getting $155.65. But guys, I gotta say that all varies from track to track. There's a lot of factors rainouts and stuff like that factor in. So I pulled average numbers, but it's just something to base off of. You could go a year without rainouts, and that's going to make your point fund a little bit higher. A lot of rainouts will take some away from it. So, but that's just kind of a track that I picked out. With the sport mod, it was $157.50 down to $52.50 in the sport mods. So that's a rough idea of what the track champions are going to get. Now we have plenty of tracks. Kevin, what did you pick?
We had some sponsor help. I think our modified guy, $2,700 to win our planes, and our sports one guy got $1,250 for our planes.
And he's promised to give us all the sponsors.
So there's, and like I said, the last few pages on here are, a little bit of the contingency programs that we have in place with some companies.
What's the national sport mod?
The national sport mod, and I printed it up, but I must have forgotten. I think that's 99.9% is $3,500, and then I think it works its way down to $300. I believe. I knew I forgot something, and that was it. So, I know there's been a lot of information thrown at you guys in a short time tonight. We don't expect you not to get home and come up with a question. Once again, my card's here, Dave's card's here. Make sure you grab our cards. But more importantly, I think we've kind of gone through the formal part of this meeting. Now it's time just to turn it over to you guys. Let's hear what's on your mind. Let's hear what you think. Let's hear what we can do as a sanctioning body to make your racing better. That's what we're here for. Any thoughts, ideas? We could answer why we did this, what our thought process is, right, wrong, or otherwise. But the most important thing, we really want to get feedback from you guys. IMCA is not a magic wand. We're not going to wave it over the track and cars are going to fall from the sky. It's a building process, but it works. We know it works because it's been proven all over the country. It's been proven in this area that it will work. But it's the only way it can work with you guys and us working together. It's not a great time in our industry right now. We can't afford to be fighting amongst ourselves like babies, to be quite honest. We all got to realize we're all in this together. We sink or we swim together. And that's what we're here for. So, like I said, guys, let's turn it over to you guys. Let me fire away. We got Dave, we got Kevin, his staff, we got Cliff to answer any questions.
We're learners here.
You
You got Bob, too.
Yeah. This is your first rodeo.
If a guy runs a small beam on motor, we get a weight break?
No,
No?
it's the same weight for everybody.
What is it?
2450 for IMCA.
For the mod.
Oh, beam on?
Yeah, for the sport mods.
What's 2,600 or 2,650?
That's all the same. So let's stick with that again. You race what you're racing and say when you raced it, with a few exceptions that we outlined. So if you had to be 2,600 or 2,650 last year, then that's what you need to be. The IMCA sport line is 2,500.
If you go full IMCA legal, then that's what it's going to be.
That's what it will be.
That's why you can't make mixed rules, can't be like full soda and go with the IMCA weight.
So if you're running the Wasota small one, just make sure you're legal for a Wasota small one.
But if I run a complete IMCA setup, now I can run the less weight.
25.
Yep. What else? Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Tim the only tire guy? Tim's not, he's on tires still?
Yeah.
Okay. Not Hoosier North?
Yeah, Hoosier North.
Oh, they will be carrying tires? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they're a distributor. Do they sell tires retail?
Yes.
Do they?
Same
Okay.
price.
Yeah.
Same price.
102.
Yeah, 72 plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the mods and sport mods all running the same tire?
Yes. One tire for both. Something else I probably forgot to mention this. Even though you guys are in the transition, you're still eligible for the full national points, regional points. So our national champion could come right out of this room in a transition car. Once again, it's what you're racing against weekly. That's all we care about. What else, guys?
Question for the two tracks. Are they going to go 100% IMCA, or are they going to stay split?
Two classes. For mine and mine.
But for as a transition, are they going to go 100% IMCA, where they'll lose the street stock and mod force?
The sanctioning is tomorrow for the meeting.
We don't know.
We don't know.
what's going to happen tomorrow.
We don't have that decision. So we don't know that tomorrow. I mean, we're probably not going to go all IMCA. We're probably going to then come up with some kind of a unsanctioned style class. We don't want to obviously lose our mod boards and stuff like that, so we'll probably look at other options there.
So would that still stay as the class that they're at now? Would that still stay there?
Which mod boards?
Yeah.
What you have now, running there.
Well, we have to change a little bit. We can't obviously copy.
I'd say just wait for the meeting.
Right, yeah. I mean, our plan is to run
have to
this
decide what we're going to run. We don't know yet. We're hoping to run the 3 Minnesota classes. I don't know.
And as far as IMCA goes, co-sanction is not any issue with us. We do it all over the country. We want to do whatever we can as a sanctioning body to help the track. I think, when I first met with Cliff and Katie, that was one of the things I stressed. Hey, if you've got good non-sanctioned classes and they're sanctioned with SOTA, stick with it. You got to stick with it. Same with Kevin and everybody up there. We're not greedy. We're not after the whole piece of pie. We just want to do what we do good, and hopefully can help you guys.
So you guys are split up there with SOTA and IMCA? You're going to stay that way?
They run mod boards too.
We'll see what happens after the meeting.
Typically they run.
Let's say it goes the other way, so then mod 4s are gone and the streeters are gone?
Well, I don't
Then what are you gonna do up there then?
I mean, we want to be with SOTA, so we're going to stick with that plan right now. If that doesn't happen, then we will figure out, we'll have options. We're not going to leave you guys hanging,
It's going to get sticky, guys. We'll just have to wait till after the meeting because it's going to get sticky. So just let us get through the meeting and see what happens.
That's all. Just hope for the best and everything stays the way it is.
And that's open to everybody for that meeting too?
No.
No, that's
That's
it.
a board
Minnesota meeting.
It's typically, it should be open to everybody, but I don't think it will be.
They want to talk to us like yourself.
I just want to address that. It's been interesting keeping quiet that I've been taking the position as a promoter. And so consequently, you hear a lot of rumors because they don't realize you're going to be the promoter. I have heard everything from IMCA lawyered up and they're suing Minnesota already over this. I have heard 100 names thrown out there as to who is the promoter. I have heard that we went IMCA because we're really mad at Minnesota. None of those rumors are true. What we would like you guys to do, and that's exactly why they got their cards up there, instead of feeding that rumor mill, that's not what you were told tonight at the meeting. The cards are there. Call IMCA. If you've got friends that are starting those rumors, give them one of the cards and let them call IMCA themselves and find out the facts instead of fueling it. Okay?
We just don't want things festering. And the longer they go unanswered, the more they fester and grow. It's the old game. I can start with a story right here. By the time it gets to the back, it's going to be way out of proportion. We just want to kind of stick to the facts.
And have fun racing.
Yeah, no
Get
doubt.
racing. Let's just have good atmosphere, positive, vibe. People hanging out and enjoying each other's company.
That's something that I'm going to cut me off in about a minute, but I gotta say this. That's what we gotta get back to. I don't care if it's IMCA with soda, I don't care what it is. We've got to somehow put the fun back in this sport. I've been with IMCA 25 years now. You know, one of the things, the most disturbing thing I've seen all over the country in the last, especially 8-9 years, is a lack of fun at tracks. The drama, the bitching, the petty stuff that goes on at racetracks, guys. I know we're all competitive, but I guess the one question I have, if I could have a show of hands, how many drivers sitting in this room are 100% full-time, whether it be with soda or IMCA racers? That's the only job you do. Can I see a show of hands? That's what I thought. We all should be in this to have fun, guys. And if we can do anything to be a part of that, we like to think by trying to take and make racing a little bit more affordable, we can help you have more fun, but we can only do so much. Let's enjoy this sport. It's just, we are all so blessed that we have the opportunity to take part in this sport. And I think once we lose sight of that, it's an honor. It's the tracks. They're honored to have you guys come race for you. As a sanctioning body, we're honored to have you guys make the sacrifices you do. We're honored to have the tracks make the sacrifices they do. We're respectful, guys. We all just got to have a little respect for each other. I wouldn't want their job up here, what they do. I really don't think most people know what it takes week in, week out to give you guys a place to enjoy your hobby, your sport. I don't think, a lot of people don't know. It's not show up at 4:30 before the race and open the gate and turn the hot dogs on, then walk out with wheelbarrows of money. These are bad. And on the other side of the fence, I wouldn't trade what you guys do for all the money in the world. Sitting working on your car late at night, the sacrifices you all make, whether it be family activities, whatever, it's huge. And, you know, I just can't stress enough, we're all in this together. Let's just try to find a way to all respect each other, and more importantly, all have fun. That's all. We take one thing out of this meeting. Let's just, when we're at the track and we're about ready to go kill a guy because he might have slid you a little bit or something like that, let's sit back and think how lucky we are to have the opportunity to do what we all do. Because without you guys and you guys, I would probably have to get a real job. And I don't even want to think what that would be like, okay? I don't want to think what it would be like to have to work. So, because what myself and Dave does, whether, you know, it's full-time, but it's a pleasure. I would say I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I love what I do.
Our director of, Virginia Lindsay is our director of membership and points, and she has a saying, and she told me, she said, you got to dig it to do it. So we do dig it. I retired from another job to take this job, and that job was, dollar-wise, was way better than this job. I've been doing it, I did it for 30-some years, and all leading up to this on purpose. Even though I've only worked here 2 years full-time, I have a 15-year relationship organizing events. This year's my 15th Nationals. 854 cars in 6 days this year. It grows all the time. Plus events around the country. And there was a couple of years I didn't work at Wheeler Racetrack, and I just worked events for Brett. And it's not because I was getting rich or anything else, you know, it's because I dig it. I dig it, none of you guys dig it, you wouldn't be here to find out what's going on. So if we can help you somehow, you know, it is very satisfying to help everybody. And people say, I don't know how you put up with all that. Well, the reality is something really cool is going to happen before that over. So I stay around for that. I'm going to see that. So, like Jim said, I feel really lucky, and respect means a lot. You're going to get respect from us. If you ever get anything less than that from one of us, you need to let one of the other ones down.
Yeah. We're not gonna put up with that, it's the same as that.
You heard Virginia's a sick break, she's a saint, right? Something.
She is the most favorite person in IMCA. So if you ever have a points question or membership, or you're getting close to the end of the year and you want to know, you can call Virginia. She's dialed up on 10 all day, and I don't think she's seen it.
Yeah,
So,
never seen her in a bad mood.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Jim gave us that little bit of a talk that he gave you, maybe not quite so in depth, but what we've seen at our racetrack is it's contagious. Some of our guys that didn't have a chance, I mean, they were racing for the last half of the field. If they got in the last half of the field, they were happy. Now, I mean, they got different attitudes. Guys are coming in, they're happy, they're excited to go racing. They're just really, for us, has really brought the fun back into it. And some of you guys might look at me and say I'm full of it, but I'm telling you, I've worked for him since, and we've been in the tech area fist fighting with everybody, and it's really interesting. If you guys are having fun, to a lot of this meeting and say, hey, you know, because this is what we're going to do as tracks, we're racing IMCA now. Let everybody know what we're up to. You know, it's a simple transition. You guys are still going to race. You're still going to be as fast. Chances are the good guys are still going to be up front. But it just gives these other guys opportunity. And in that, it brings more fans, it brings more sponsors to you guys, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to say that. I've seen it firsthand. Because we beat our heads against the wall for a year trying to figure out what we were going to do.
I think what it boils down to again is we're trying to, these tracks that are going through the transition are trying to put funds back in racing. Now don't get me wrong, we're not just out there to have a good time. These guys are out there to win also, but we need to put the funds back into it.
Everybody's competitive.
There are racetracks that are closing up all over the country every day. And you gotta remember that support your local tracks.
Right on.
You got one more. Yeah.
No? Like,
Kevin, I wanted to stress, there was one of the stories I also got, that he said that was when you had a sort of B-mod go to the IMCA mod.
Yeah, we got a couple guys. One guy that I know for sure, I can tell you, the 60 car, he moved up to, he was a B-mod runner, and he bought his modified license, and he top 5, top 3, and didn't change a thing. He put a 4-wheel on his B-mod motor. He was a top 5 car. I mean, he's a good wheel, but he was a top 5 car. So, I mean, that tire is an equalizer. I'm telling you, it is the coolest thing ever. So, it makes the budget racer competitive, and that's what brings the fun back into it, guys.
On that note, we have somebody close to us that she sold her Wasota street stock. Basically, and you guys know street stocks in Minnesota are getting expensive. You know, freshening up those motors aren't cheap. And she basically took the money and evened up for a sport mod. She's run all season long at Arlington and done very, very well. In fact, I think she's in the top 40 for the female points group. I listened to that. She said she's had more fun this year. She's had some bad luck. You know, comes with the first year and going from a full body car to a liquid wheel. But she's had more fun this year because a lot of the pressure is off on how much is this going to cost me now, because she can afford it. So something to keep in mind.
Jim always says that this isn't the magic wand, and I agree with him, but we averaged in 2013, if we got 12 modifieds to race, granted, they put on a hell of a good race. If we got 12, we were happy. This year, we've seen 20 cars pretty consistent.
27 one day.
27 one day. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we're gonna average 26 mods this year.
Our local engine guys and chassis guys are saying we'll see that 27 to 30. It's growing, you guys. It's crazy.
And a big part of that is because our racers have embraced it, and our engine builders and our chassis guys, and I mean, everybody's really just, they've helped so much doing that.
Not only that, 12 cars gets a full show point.
yes, they do.
I don't like 12 cars.
She references Fort Lauderdale or Engine Boston, whatever. And at Super Nationals this year, the Hobby Stops were at 602. Great also with the 2-burner carburetor on those. But the guy that finished third in that race, pretty good race ran. That was his 150th night on the engine. never been a part.
And 2 years ago, we, the guy that won the Sport Mod feature, we take their crate, auction it off, and give him a brand new one. He had 171 nights on his 602. As far as the 604, last year was year number 2. We don't know how long they're going to run. We've got guys with 86, I think the most I know on it so far, shows on it. Without, once again, he changes oil once a month and he changes valve springs during the year. That was it.
If you have a good engine program and it works for you and you're fast and going to race with that, you
Stick with it.
You have a choice.
What else? Anybody? Well, I guess with that, once again, thank all of you. Thank everybody up at this table. Thank you very much for coming back. And I think, we're going to be around here. Please feel free to come grab our cards. Come tell us we're crazy, we're out of our mind, we don't know what we're talking about. Tell us that. Tell us whatever you feel, that's what we're here for. Yeah. But once again,